I tried to do apparel.
We are live on Facebook. It's
Live
hard.
on Facebook.
Let me know when you got me on Instaham, Stevie.
Hold on.
Full building today, man. We got quite a few cars in here.
Let's see.
Some good looking ones. Let's see who's wrenching.
We are live on Instagram, sir.
And not only do we have a lot of cars in the house, we got someone special in the building, Stevie.
We do have a very special guest, but first, we got to take it to the marriage saver, Justin Smith.
I like the new introduction. It's better than the previous one. I appreciate
Whatever.
that. Yeah, I know it's pissing him off that he can't say
It's making me so mad.
other stuff. I mean, let's come up with, like, I don't know, more appropriate, real.
You guys come up with something good for me to be able to call Justin appropriate, and we'll see if it works.
All right.
Is that fair?
We'll go with that. We'll turn it over. You guys get a t-shirt, whichever guy, whichever introduction that we use. How's that?
I like it.
All right, so today it's Tech Tuesday, but we're going to replace Tech Talk with interviews because we have a very special guest in the house today. Hopefully you guys saw the promo that Chase was supposed to do and let you know that we actually have a very famous person, especially if you guys are into any of the motorsports out there with all UTV stuff and with Nitro Circus. We have Nitro Hubert Rowland with us. Dun, da, da, da.
Hello.
Oh, and of course, I can't leave out. We have special guest Sticky is here too.
Sticky the Stick Horse, my co-pilot.
That's right. And if you guys follow anything that he does, you know how special that co-ride driver is.
So I know people are going to call me out right out of the gate.
Yes.
This is Sticky's cousin.
Okay.
Explain to us.
Sticky's cousin, Geraldine Sticky. Because OG Sticky, original Sticky, well, he got a broken stick. Basically broke him at his neck. He didn't come apart, but we didn't take him out to pasture either. Hung him up in the shop so he can oversee all the car builds and make sure his cousin's doing the job correctly.
Well, good to see you got a good filler inner that can hold the stirrups the same as the other one, right? Or fill the stick.
Fill the stick.
Yeah, it's some big sticks to fill, especially with the last one, that's for sure.
You got a lot more than just a new horse with you.
We do. We have a new machine.
What's the new machine and what are you doing with it?
So this is
I don't even know if we're allowed to say. Last time it was a different machine.
It's been many years since I've been out here at Shock Therapy, and now we're working with Can-Am, myself and Travis, and we have the X3 XRS Smart Shocks machine.
When you say Travis, who do you actually mean? There's a lot of. I've got a couple friends named Travis too.
Okay.
And
well, the one and only, my very close friend and employer, Travis Pastrana from Nitro Circus. So him and myself work with Can-Am as far as just showing how awesome these machines are. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, we're awesome. So we pick awesome machines. It's really just that simple.
Well, I mean, that's enough said right there.
That's a perfect intro.
So I have a question for you though. You're a Can-Am ambassador. What does a Can-Am ambassador mean? Because it sounds very official and cool to me, but I'm guessing it's as absolutely not nearly as cool as it sounds.
It means I know what I'm talking about.
You sure they hired the right guy?
It means I know what I'm talking about, and I can spread the good word about the machines because I have a... Really?
Right.
Really?
You're gonna have a lot of that.
Yeah. So
Sir Ambassador of Can-Am is talking, guys.
Yeah, no noise in the background during ambassador chat.
basically, like promoting the machines and showing the good in them, and then giving feedback on them, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I would think that with the amount of stuff that you guys run and how hard you run it, that would actually be a really good choice to pick you guys for the feedback side of it, especially because one of the main things that I know you do, and I'm kind of just throwing this out there in case you guys don't know, is racetrack and jump construction for Nitro Circus and for yourself. You actually, with big equipment, go out and build full tracks for anybody if they need it too,
Oh, yeah.
right?
So yeah, I'm a certified mechanic through Wyotech, So I learned that right out of the gate out of high school. So I've been mechanicking on stuff for years and years and years. You know, grew up on a farm, basically working on junk to ride it for 15 minutes and then go work on it for hours on end. We've definitely developed over the years and got far more professional and all that kind of stuff, but also grew up running heavy equipment. I've helped build some of the biggest live events there are in the world. X Games, Supercross, Monster Jams.
Stadium tracks.
Yeah, like full-on stadium shows, but then I've also built stuff for private individuals or race courses, a little bit of anything and everything. So having that kind of background, also for Nitro Circus, we build big stuff for Can-Ams, for cars, for bikes, for big stunts in general. So that's basically my two wheelhouses is mechanics and heavy equipment, and then also being involved with that, of course, run the machines, because if I'm going to build it, usually I have to jump it.
You're the first guinea pig on the jump you create.
Yeah. So yeah,
That could go really bad.
It can, but usually it doesn't.
Well, I mean, that means that you're probably then the perfect test dummy for any of the UTV stuff, especially through Can-Am, that you can try and break it before anybody else.
Yeah, and I will say we haven't treated these things light. I'm a little more delicate on machines because I look at like the long haul and, you know, making things last a long time, where Travis, the only warm-up it gets is because I pull it in the shop. If I backed it in the shop, it would just be flat out straight to the track. So if I know he's coming to ride, we'll let it idle, let it warm up a little bit, try to get the belt warm a little bit. But I'll say he's been running it for a year and dogged his two-seater, dogged the four-seater with, I put a bench seat in the back, so he's running 5 people and thing, and dogged both of them, like cuts them no slack whatsoever, and we've had 0 failures whatsoever.
You know, I'm going to bring up something that I actually saw now that I can actually talk about it, and that was you guys testing Smart Shocks vehicles 6-7 months ago on the racetrack.
Yeah, so Can-Am did their ambassador tour. Basically with COVID and all that kind of stuff, you can't gather people early on. You know, it's kind of relieved off some. So Can-Am sent a 2-seat and a 4-seat Smart Shocks machine to each ambassadors across the country. They picked like 6 or 8 of us. I truly, like, at the end of the day, like, I am only because of Travis. Like, if I was just to help,
Travis wouldn't have a jump to jump without you either. So.
I mean, it's a give and take. You know, I help him and he helps me. And if I was just a hillbilly in Tennessee and didn't know Travis, well, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I'd be milking cows and farming and whatever else. But very fortunate to be where I'm at, and it's very much of it's thanks to Travis and Nitro Circus. And you know, it's a lot of hard work. There's, just like this place, there's far more work behind what you actually see on camera. I mean, we prep for weeks and build stuff and test stuff for weeks and weeks and weeks, literally for 5 minutes of film. That's just how it works out. Everyone sees the cool stuff and they think, oh, it's cool.
It's that easy, but no.
I like, oh, I wish you knew we was out here until 3 a.m. inside the airbag, fixing blown out seams in the airbag, just so he could jump it the next morning.
Well, with that kind of a job, everything's different every day. But you know, back when you were a kid, I looked it up. You're born in '78.
No.
76.
No.
76. Are you 42?
No.
Damn it! I missed it.
No.
My research.
What were you reading?
Hold on a second. My research department is now fired, and there he is.
Wow.
There's,
We on Wikipedia?
on there, you know.
So apparently, you know,
Don't believe everything.
Wikipedia.
so gone. Wikipedia does not work. What was your first job and vehicle shortly after? If they were in the same thing.
Well, I grew up on a farm working on the farms.
So first
that
vehicle was
was-
a tractor.
Actually, my grandfather built me a go-kart out of 2 lawnmowers at 3 years old.
3. Wow, it got me smoked. I think I was on a go-kart like 10, and
3
I thought
years
that
old.
was pretty early.
Wow.
It was
I
as
know.
fast as a lawnmower. But he had it set up with the motor in the back and the pulley system to where when you push the gas, it tightened the belt. That's what made it go.
So,
I had
yeah,
a
your own
3-speed and
centrifugal
reverse.
clutch, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, you just tightened up the belt and go.
Yeah. I had a 3-speed with
3-speed
reverse.
belt drive.
Well, it had a little transaxle. I mean,
So back then
and
you were
then I
belt
got-
driven, and even today you're belt driven.
yeah, and I got in big trouble for hitting my mom's Z28 Camaro. Big trouble.
Did it have a gold bird on it too?
No.
No. That's Firebird. Sorry.
What do you got, Matt? Technically your first race car.
So Dom, our trusty pilot, says, "What's new, if anything, for the 2022 Mr. Ambassador?"
Oh, we are
Come
going to
right out
try.
of the gate.
Shots fired.
We want secret stuff, sir. How much secret stuff can we drag out of you for 2022?
He's got it on the
What
shirt.
can you actually tell us?
For 22, COVID still will be here. I can tell you right now, for all y'all that are worried about COVID, it ain't going nowhere. Eventually, we all will have had it, and we keep moving forward. That's
Yep.
all there is to it.
Can you say it louder for the people in the back?
Yeah. You all will have COVID at some given time. That's just part of it. It's real. I mean, there's no doubt it's real. But we just adapt and keep moving forward. That's what's happening in 22. As far as Can-Am,
How about Can-Am, sir? Thanks for steering that sideways.
as far as for Can-Ams, you'll see more X3s. XRS, XDS, XRC, XMR.
I'm gonna throw something out there, and I actually I don't know this to be true. I'm actually just guessing. Rumor has it that Can-Am's coming out with a hovercraft. Is that true?
The last hovercraft I seen was on Craigslist.
Damn it!
Damn.
That didn't work out. Is Can-Am coming out with a 6-wheel vehicle?
They already have a 6-wheel vehicle. They beat you to that one.
Okay, so that one was a good guess. I nailed it. Thank you. What do you got, Steve?
Well, so I got a question, not necessarily for 2022, but for Hubert himself. You were talking about like tractors and having lawnmowers and stuff like that. When did you first come out as a redneck?
I think it's a natural thing where I'm from because at any given time, my neck is more red than anywhere else. Just part of it.
Do you when you actually realize you're a redneck, do you actually have to come out of the closet?
No, the thing is, like, I fought it for years.
It would be a shed. Not a closet, Justin.
I fought it for years, and in a way of when I first met Travis, I met him at a pro national race. I was no mechanic for someone else, and he comes out with a backpack with corn in it. Like, he stopped at a food stand, a little sweet corn, still in the shuck. And he said, "Oh, I picked up this corn. I was thinking about eating it." Well, at that given time, my accent was far, far worse because I hadn't left Tennessee maybe 6-8 times. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's all good. We eat that all the time back home out of the fields." He's like, "This guy sounds redneck enough. I'll believe him." And that's kind of where it started. But they kept calling me out on it, and I kept trying to say, "No, I'm just a country person." And then finally, I just like, "I'm a redneck. That's fine."
So is redneck derogatory or is it embracing?
It depends.
Okay.
Depends on what you're doing.
Okay, so we should have a show that says, "Is it redneck?" That's just the question. Is it redneck?
Yeah.
So give me one that is that's a compliment, a statement maybe. Make something up.
So I would
And then
believe
how
it-
about one that's derogatory?
I believe it would be like, oh, yeah, Hubert the redneck's a great guy, or that stupid redneck. Like, I feel like there's, you know what I mean? Like, there's that would be the downside of putting something bad in front of it, right? If you said that dumb redneck or whatever, like, I feel like that's mean.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. It can be like that. I mean, to be honest, there's rednecks all over the country. They ain't just from the southeast like where we're from. There's rednecks everywhere.
I got redneck next door to my house.
Okay.
Sure.
And
I've seen where you live. You don't have any
like,
rednecks.
I think the general term of redneck is it's a hardworking person that's kind of going to make anything work, but not necessarily the exact correct way the instructions would say.
So they're going to throw their own. It could be a little baling wire and duct tape in there.
It could be, and that's kind of rednecking stuff up, but it's whatever it takes to keep moving. And then you got the rednecks that kind of, I guess the downfall redneck would be someone that just hacked something together completely and really didn't try to do it correctly. Just, we're going to get it going just so we can go.
Would that be James Cantrell?
I mean, we're every one of us that's raced in the desert or the woods or whatever and broke and been stuck, we rednecked it together to keep going.
So that's a positive way of
That's
using
a positive way.
it, right? Get it out no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
So is hillbilly, is that along the terms of redneck? Hillbilly too?
Similar.
Very similar?
My mom claims that all the time, and not really claims it, but you know, back in the hills of Tennessee, basically where we're from, she'll get to talking about something and whatever, and then like I'll say I don't understand something. She's like, we're just a bunch of hillbillies. Like, at the end of the day, like, we're not going to overcomplicate it. We're just hillbillies and just going to make it simple and keep going.
Well, that sounds cute. It's like warm and fuzzy
I like that,
term,
yeah.
honestly. You know?
Well, in the South, the big thing is like, oh, bless their heart.
But you can say bless their heart and mean it really mean
It goes, I mean, it can be a sweet thing, and it's like, oh, poor thing. You know, I mean, it's...
Bless Chase's little heart. Bless Chase's
Yeah,
heart.
bless your heart on the way out the door.
Oh, bless him, bless him, bless him.
So, actually, I'm going to change the subject a little bit since we kind of covered redneck, that's for sure.
I like that.
This car that you're leaning on, you're actually headed out to King of the Hammers this weekend, right? And what's this going to be used for you? Because I think you've got a couple cars in the trailer.
Yes, sir, I'm heading to King of the Hammers. That's the one solid for sure race I do every year. I know my place. I'm not a front runner. I'm not a big team. I'm not like y'all and Blurton and all those guys. For me, it's purely exposure and purely fun. For anybody and everybody I'm dealing with, exposure for myself, Nitro Circus, you know, Pit Viper, Super ATV, Truck Therapy, everybody. That's purely what Hammers is. It's purely fun for me. I didn't do too great last year. I had an X3 and put it together in a couple months, and you know, built a great car. And I had a little misunderstanding of the rules.
They weren't kind to you?
Well, so we'll just go the whole story. So I try to stay pretty positive, and I learned that from Travis. Positivity can go a long ways. Whether it's how you're feeling or how the day's going, positivity, like I say, it does a lot. I had Rick Waterbury was my co-driver. Well, his 4400 is on the cover of the brochure. And he helps out Blurton as far as the pits and stuff like that. Very, very knowledgeable guy, knows the place, knows how to crawl, and I was like, all right, this is gonna be awesome. Because my first year out there, I barely got halfway, and I basically timed out. Second year I actually finished, but about an hour outside the time frame. I got in the rock section, broke a bunch of stuff, had to get it fixed, rednecked it out of there, but we got home. This third year I got out there and I paid for the qualifying because I'm like, we're trying to beat some people.
Yeah.
They put me out there semi-early. I'm like, heck yeah, man, I qualified 20th. By the end of the day, I was like 83rd. So
By the time everybody else run it.
yeah, exactly. So the true speed really wasn't there. It's just they haven't tried yet. So with that being said, you know, but I mean, 83rd in front of, I mean, out of 130, we're still in front of a lot of people.
Yep.
So you leave, you go all the way out to pit 1, do like a loop, back past pit 1 again. You go through the rock section, down back door into the finish line. That's basically the end of the first lap. Then you go desert over to the other rock section. Did all that pretty well, you know, just plugging along where I feel comfortable. To me, like 70, 75 is pretty fast to the desert. That's just the way I feel. You don't go that fast in the woods back east. You might hit 35, 40. So I'm cruising out there and I said, man, this thing's doing great. And then I'm cruising along, and early on I seen Cody Miller, which qualified number 1 on the side of the trail. Like, no way. And I was like 80th coming through. Like, no way, man, that's horrible. But just keep plugging along. I get past pit 1. I'm cruising across the desert to go towards back door. And I'm just like, running about 75. And I hear something. I look over. Here comes Cody Miller in the grass and the shrubs.
And you're doing 75.
Yeah, like pass me like I'm sitting still. And I'm like, man on a mission right there. And I get down Resolution, get all the way basically to back door to where you're dropping off of it. There's 3 cars rolled over in the bottom, and then there's like 4 cars backed up. And my co-driver is there, and he's gonna get out and like kind of guide me down. And I sit there for a minute, and I was like, screw this, I'm not waiting. I pull out of the course, go around the mountain, and come back in. And then I went on to the finish line. Well, I had a misinterpretation with the rules.
I was going to say, what'd you just do right there?
I went
You lost me.
I misinterpreted the rules. The rules were, they had stated if you miss a point, there'll be a time penalty.
Okay.
So I figured instead of waiting 45 minutes to an hour to get down this stupid rock wall,
Go around
I'll
and take
take a
the penalty.
30-minute penalty
Yeah.
and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
No big deal. Well, they radioed me in because they saw my co-driver come down and get back in. They thought he'd cut the transponder and just ran it and jump back in. And I was like, well, that's always been a good idea. I'll get a CrossFit person. Now, he couldn't talk. But, you know, we're not trying to cheat, but then again, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So, at the same time, so we get all the way around to the finish line. Coming through the finish line, here comes Dave Cole out there. I mean, just mad. He stops me right before the finish line. He said, "You're done. You're out of here." I was like, "Why?" And we're sitting in the middle of the course. He's like, "Well, you went around this." And I was like, "Oh, well, I understood it was this, this, and this, and whatever." And I wasn't mad because it was purely my fault. And he was like, "Well, no, you can't do that." And I was like, "All right, well, I'll go to the truck then. I'm done." And he, as soon as I said that, he backed up and he's like, "Well," I was like, "let's pull off the track so we're not blocking the track and I'll talk to you." He's like, "Okay." So he pulled over and I took all my stuff off and I was like, "This is how I understood the rules." He's like, "Well, that's more of the desert. If it's a turn and you kind of miss a point, you know, you kind of cut a turn, you know, that's where we're really trying to do it." He said, "You missed a whole ravine valley. You went around a mountain." I was like, "Okay."
Mountains, turns, all the
when
same thing.
When you build a track, do you appreciate it when people just, you know, cut half of the course of your track?
That's a good question. Can anybody cut your course?
Actually,
Come on, Hubert.
Actually, if I'm building
Come
it
on.
for someone else, I don't care what they do with it.
And that leads me to my second point: know your rules. Make sure you read the
and
manual.
that was fully my fault. And do you want to roll into this? Or
I
no?
do, actually. So now that you're talking about rules, it reminded me of something that's very important. I want you guys all to remember this. That Alan Rudd, who is the new tech director for Best in the Desert, is having all of the new rules for UTV classes and other classes in Best in the Desert will be put up on their website tonight and available for everyone to take a look at on Wednesday morning. This is kind of a big deal because there's a lot of new rules in Best in the Desert. A ton of them, I think, are amazing and going to be directing the classes and especially UTV in a really good direction and bringing more people to the class. So with that being said, we're going to have Alan call in to our show on Thursday, and he's going to be answering questions having to do with tech and everything else in UTV. So if you guys want to read through that and maybe call into us and give us some of the questions you want answered with Alan, this is one of the only times that anyone, anywhere can actually get their questions answered with a tech director from Best in the Desert before you actually get in trouble by entering the race and doing something wrong.
So yeah, at the end of the day, I misinterpreted the rules, so he pulled off. And I've known Dave for a couple years. I met him at my buddy's shop. Super nice guy, puts on a great event. And he's like, well, you can't do that. I was like, well. He's like, I got to disqualify. I was like, well, you don't have to. I was like, you can just give me a time penalty and I'll keep going. I was like, but if you don't want to, I'll just go to the trailer. It's my fault. I'm done. No big deal. And he's like, well, I love that you're here. I don't want you to be mad. I said, I'm not mad, man. It's my fault. You know, it's no big deal. And he's like, I tell you what, if you go out the pits and go back in the course and then go back where you came out, you know, you can keep going. I was like, you know what? I'm kind of hungry. And I haven't tore up my car. I was like, so you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm fine. We're good. I was like, thanks for an awesome race, and I know better for next time. And I shook his hand and I went off. And
Bless your heart, Hubert.
Well,
Bless your heart.
And
Bless your heart.
evidently that's what went through his head because I didn't know. Like I was done with the race. Like I was done for the week, and I stayed for the 4,400. And later on, I had probably 2 drivers come up to me from 4,400, and they're like, you know, they brought you up in the 4,400 class. I was like, did I do something wrong? I said, I'm not entering that. He's like, no, he brought up your example of how you were just respectful and nice, and you knew it was your fault, and you just, okay, well, thank you. And he only brought it up to hopefully people would think of that because he's been dog cussed and ripped apart.
Oh man,
And-
enforcing the rules in racing
Yeah.
is one of
And
the
it's-
worst jobs in history because you're going to get yelled at by everybody at some
And
point.
like it's a bummer that I did wrong, but like it's my fault. But if the story helped and you know made something, then that's awesome. You know, I'm proud of that.
Right on. Steve, you had a question?
I do have a question. It's actually for Hubert. It says, Hubert, who would you use in Maryland or surrounding states to build a cage for your X3? He's looking to have a custom cage built for his 2021 X3 RC.
Now, let's just assume it's not going to be yourself at the shop.
Yeah, I don't build cages.
Okay.
I leave that to people that know what they're doing.
Okay.
Who do you use out there?
Honestly, I run stock cages. As you see, this machine does trails. This machine's going to pre-run for King of the Hammers. A stock cage is perfectly fine as far as just trail riding and just scooting around and doing what you do.
Well, what if it's the race car and by rule you got to have one? Then what are you doing there?
My race car cage is by Phil Blurton and No Limit.
Okay.
I called him. It's pre-done. They put it on a pallet. They ship it to you. You just bolt it on. They can coat it if you want, or you can get it bare and you can coat it. There's tons of people that make great cages, but
A couple names for you.
A couple names for me already. We'll go over those a little bit.
we'll go over those later.
Yeah, this is not the
Triple Digit Sketch wanted to say, hey, Hubert, miss the old Wyotech days, especially Bike Week.
Oh, you got someone, a friend of yours from the past.
Said he went right after you.
maybe so. I definitely went through Wyotech and Daytona, and that's big time. Big time.
What's your favorite job you've ever had?
My current job.
Right. I kind of figured that you might say that.
Yeah, I was saying, I don't know.
That was like a gimme. So how about this? I'm gonna go the other way. What is the worst car you've ever driven on some track that you've ever done?
Well,
A track you've built.
not necessarily. Watch out, Kobe.
He's still going to be here in 2022.
That's right.
Well, you're trying to pick out a vehicle. I'm going to say worst experience in a car. I'll
All
give
right,
you that
how's
one.
that?
Worst experience in a car was a Ford Explorer. Last summer, I just fixed the whole side-by-side loop at Pastrana Land. My buddy comes down there in his beater Ford Explorer and said, hey, let's go check out the course. I happened to be the last person to get in. I had to get in the storage area. I'm at the back yelling, stop letting me out, while he's going up these rough hills. Literally, within 5 minutes, my foot was broke.
Oh, really?
There was plates put in it.
In the car, in the truck?
In the back.
You broke it. You broke it right in the back.
Yep. I got bucked in the air and landed sitting on the side of my foot. And there's a bone in there and it shattered it.
Oh man.
Instant pain. That was the 2nd of July, and the 4th of July is the biggest holiday we have of the year. I'm out there in a golf cart with a leaf blower blowing the parking lot off because I can't walk.
Oh
And
man.
That's the worst ride in a vehicle ever. As far as worst handling vehicles, probably my Suzuki Vitara from my beater field car race
Vitara.
that actually blew up.
Wow.
That might have just aged you a little bit.
Yeah. We have
So
a-
you were born in '68 then? How about this? I'm gonna this will be the last younger question. How's that?
whatever.
If you could go back and give your younger self some advice, then what do you think you would do? What do you think you would give yourself? Or what would you want to know from your older self?
I
know it's a big question.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I'm very content in my life from beginning to end. Very grateful for everything. If I could go back to Nitro Circus DVD days and TV days, I would have learned more about marketing and how to grow a brand. Because we were right there on the front lines and could have grown a brand, fairly big, fairly fast. And just didn't know nothing about it. I wish I would have known a little more about social media back then. And I know that's silly, but I have a decent following, but if I would have done the following like Street Bike Tommy told me to, it probably would have been triple what it is now. Because I didn't care. Like I grew up all I know is work.
Yeah.
You just work till it's done, work. And that's probably my downfall. I'll always be just getting by, but I'm okay with that. But I wish I would have learned a more business end of stuff earlier in life.
Would you have told yourself not to get into the back of that Explorer?
I actually told myself that while I was getting into it. But I said, you know what, it'll be all right. It wasn't.
Well, thanks for the insight on a little bit about you, especially growing up and coming up to where you're doing right now. Hopefully you guys learned a bunch. Back to the cars that you've got here through the shop. I mean, basically, this is on your way to King of the Hammer, so we're
Yep,
going to do a
yep.
couple little things here and there. Here's a shameless plug about to come your way from us. So, we're going to throw a couple things on your car besides the rack that you've actually already installed and
Yeah, I
had
hope
some
you
fun
saw
with.
that install video.
Yeah, so actually, Chase showed me a little bit.
It was killer.
I watched,
It was killer.
I watched his video, and I was like, you know what, that's okay. But I can do it way faster than him, and I can do it a little simpler.
I bet if you didn't have Chase breathing down your neck, I guarantee you could do it
Because I
faster.
saw you do this, and this, and you never took the wheels off, and I'm like, no, I've already done this once. And literally, like, for me, have done a rack before, maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It took you that long.
It took about about 6 hours because that car had been Frankensteined like crazy.
Yeah.
And then we're filming it at what was it, 3 in the morning?
Yep.
4 in the morning. And
Everything
just-
when you film it takes twice as long.
Everything oh my god, it's
I know.
horrible.
I do the Tech Tuesday stuff with Can-Am Accessories, and I do everything first person. So I'll show it on the bench all laid out, and I'll talk about it and go to here to get the instructions, and then I'll bolt the piece on, and this is how you do it. And I'll bolt the piece on, this is how you do it. And I can roll through it pretty fast, but it takes time. Could do it way faster if I didn't have to talk about it.
I can
100%.
guarantee you that your video quality and editing is so much better than anything we do, and doing it yourself. I mean, I've seen it.
Justin, I couldn't agree with you more.
I think we pretty much have a 100% guarantee everybody is going to agree with
I
it.
agree.
So how long did, flip that to the camera guy, how long did it take you to put his video together?
Well,
Yeah,
let's
go ahead.
see. If it takes 2 hours to install it, it usually takes 4 hours to film it. If it took 4 hours to film it, I'm not Asian. It's about 12 hours in the editing software. I'm not good with spelling and titles, so that alone takes a day. And plus, you know, I got to have job security. 1 or 2 weeks.
So you're paid by the hour.
Yeah, I'm paid.
No, he's an hourly employee.
I'm paid by the job. So it's as fast as you can do it.
Hubert's flat rate. You're hourly.
That's it, Chase. The new resolution for this year is your pay scale is changing per job. You're definitely going full tilt book time on it. This might actually get some
So
stuff
with that
done.
being said, like the rack install itself, besides video and little pieces, probably took me about an hour and a half. As far as putting the video together, you know what took me the longest? Was getting the logos from you. Because I had that thing, I had it chopped together in literally about 15 minutes, and I waited 2.5 days for the little shock therapy animation that didn't even work when I
But when
had
you
it.
got that animation, tell me what it did to your video, Hubert. How much better did it make?
Well, it didn't matter because I had to screen record it and re-chop it because it wouldn't even work on how I was doing it.
What do you got there?
Some Rich Sporton asked plus 30 minutes for deodorant application.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Hey, man, I do my best, but sometimes, you know, I sweat.
So we know the rack's awesome. We're going to skip past that.
The
But
rack
we are,
is next level.
you know, thank you. We're pretty proud of it because it works. It's pretty strong, man. You can throw that thing on there and forget it.
I was very impressed with the centering bolt. My advice, give the bolt with the rack. Give him a 1/4-20 already in it. That way it's already set centered.
All right, good advice. Done. We're going to change it.
And I mean, it's just a bolt. I think that's amazing. And it is literally like on rails now. It took all that kind of vagueness out of it. It's amazing.
So what's the car that you actually have in the trailer that you're going up to Hammers with? It's going to be in what class?
Well, there's only one UTV class. That's it. It's X3 XRC RR. The one I raced last year, it's rewrap, wheels and tires. A few little things have changed, but it's still basically the same car. And it didn't have a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. Weird. It was done the day before.
Like, that was
most race
the easiest prep ever. Wheels, tires, change oil, and put it in the trailer.
I think that we're going to throw IQS on one of those while you're here, right? Maybe we
so.
can talk about something like that. I think that's what you were planning on, right, Chase?
Yes, that's what we're planning.
One of the things you mentioned, or am
Yes.
I wrong and that got changed and now I look like an idiot on this
Well,
video?
it could be
Is
like
it going
the
on?
age
Is
thing.
it going on this one?
Yeah, well, you can take a pick, I suppose. We'll
Look at he's lighting up. He was like, wait, what?
All right. Let's
You're thinking about putting on the race
let's
car?
get the big boots because we're fixing to throw somebody big under the bus.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So, the so-called camera guy here was texting me out of the blue, like blowing me up. like far worse.
Fanboying out.
Far worse than like my mom when it's tornado season.
There's a twister.
And he's like, "What do you need? What do you need? What do you want?" And I was like, "Man," I said, "some of these are demos. We're not trying to take stuff that we're not gonna drain the well by no means."
Yeah.
I said, "We'll use what we can use." And so we're using the rack. And I sent a set of 64-inch shocks here almost 6 months ago.
What?
He's like, "Just send them. We'll do it."
Wow,
Oh,
I never
happened.
I never even heard about that.
He's like, "Well, I want to put everything on your car." And I'm like, I like you. I was like, "We might need to talk to some higher ups because this is a little strange."
Yeah, Chase, can we hear the explanation on this one? Because I know nothing about
Hold
this
on a
as
second.
well.
I'm going to explain it for both of you.
Oh, thank you.
It's pretty much Chase making promises that his ass cannot cash.
Yes.
And then when it found out that he couldn't write the check for whatever he was promising, those shocks probably sat on the shelf for 6 months, and I apologize.
Oh, it's fine.
What he said.
There it is. That's pretty much what
It's no
happened.
big deal. Like, I don't stress about stuff. It's fine.
So do me a favor. We gotta skip right past Chase if we want to get something done around.
Okay.
I'll give you my number.
Well, the way you button the way you got your sweatshirt tied up, I don't want your phone number.
I'm out of here.
You should have seen him at the party this weekend. We call him Alfalfa.
Yeah, and
Alfalfa.
he was the MC. He was doing pretty good.
Thanks.
All right, you guys, this is getting a little sideways. Now that you all know that Hubert's going over to the race, you should probably watch all the tracking, follow him if you can, and kind of root him on because we could use all the help, all
I got some
racers.
sick lines out there.
XR8 TED 281. What's the best class to watch at King of the Hammers, Hubert?
UTV class is a very good class to watch. 4400 is like the main event, the pinnacle.
Big horsepower.
Big power, over 1,000 horsepower buggies. Those are awesome to watch. But also like the everyman class, like stock Jeeps and stuff like that. It's pretty amazing what they do. They put us in UTVs through harder stuff than everybody except for 4400.
Yeah. Yeah. UTV
then-
and 4400 have to run the same trails.
Basically, there's a couple different for 4400. Last year, Cody Miller took his Can-Am and raced 4400, and I think he finished in the top 20. But there was video on the big screen of Levi Shirley just shy of running him over in a rock section because that little car's in the way, and here comes the big cars.
Yep.
So there might be more of that this year.
Well,
And
you
they're
guys
also
make
doing
sure
a desert race, which you should be there.
I should be there, but we've got a really busy schedule
I'm
right now.
sure.
It's always this weekend seems to be piled up for us, so we never really can make it out. We try every year, but
Shock therapy needs a booth.
Well, we've got shocks 6 months out, so.
People looking for testing.
So Hubert, we actually had a booth, but with COVID, then they're not really sure how many people are going to let in, how many people need the booths and all, and so we decided to hold off for 1 year because of that. And now it might be snowy and muddy, so we might have lucked out on that decision. But we'll be there next year as far as the business in the booths.
Well, but Justin, with Hubert saying it's going to be around in 2022, so it's going to be the same thing next year anyways, so.
Well, we'll all have it by then.
Oh, okay.
So then everybody can kiss and hold hands and it'll be
All
fine.
done
I
and
can't
gone.
wait.
Nuts to butts, the way that Chase likes it.
Oh, God.
Sack stacking.
So, I think that maybe we should go over here and on the way out, not to kick you out because we're
No,
going to
it's
be
fine.
around for a little bit, but
fine.
on the way out on this video, maybe we'll mess with Mitch, who I saw over here is actually filming a video. What video is he filming right now?
We got rad rods going on a Turbo S, I believe.
Oh, radius rod installation happening right now. Very cool. Hey, Josh. We're nicknaming you the Chase Replacement.
That
Don't disrespect him like that.
So with that being said, and you guys see some new stuff going on, again, more shameless plugs, I think that maybe Steve should send this out with Hubert. What do you think?
You want to hold hands? Okay.
Hey,
COVID. No, we gotta be COVID compliant. Sorry, we gotta be COVID compliant. So, if you guys want to buy anything on the website, go to our website www.shocktherapist.com, or if you have any questions, call into the shop at 623-217-4959.
Hubert, if they
Thanks,
want to
man.
follow you, how do they follow you? What can they follow you on? How do they get hold of you?
Instagram and Facebook. I don't have any of that other stuff. Nitro Redneck, REDNEK Hubert. That's my pages. And if you're doing Can-Am accessories, instructions.brp.com.
There it
That's where
is.
you get your instructions.
Thanks, man. Everybody have a good day. We'll see you on Thursday.